Hello, all. Welcome to Hockey on Tap Podcast. I'm your host, Bill O'Dean, and I'm, of course, here with my three co-hosts, Shorts Guy, Shrim, Steve-O. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, brought to you by Primetime Radio, Mr. Sam Wu. Leave us a 5-star review if you'd be so kind. I am behind the glass messing things up. Gentlemen, what kind of Irish beer are you drinking?
Oh, goodness gracious. Is Shorts Guy still tapping the keg?
What are you looking at? There you go. I'll start. No one got that? Oh, unbelievable.
Maybe Schwim, I said.
Schwim?
I don't know, but it was funny nonetheless.
Oh man. when Bart is at the parade and he gets drunk by drinking beer through the horn, he looks at the camera on the news and says, "What are you looking at?" And then Ken Brockman goes, "What are you looking at?" Man, I thought someone would get that. Anyway, I'm going happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I am
also happy St. Gertrude's Day.
It is the patron saint of cats.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy. I am doing my cultural heritage right. I have a Guinness. This is my second Guinness of the night. I also had corned beef and cabbage and Irish soda bread, courtesy of one Brooke, Amanda, and I'm very grateful for that. And I am, I'm celebrating today. So Guinness it is. And what are you looking at? Look at me. I'm the Prime Minister of Ireland. I would have done that if I had a barrel to put on my head.
The whole cutout for the eye.
Yes. And I would have done the whole show that way, too. Isn't that your boy on TV?
I like it.
I got
Esteban.
I got my last heady topper here that I'm gonna have. I don't know, this guy, I guess he's an alchemist, but he looks like he could be Irish. So we're gonna say yes.
Everyone's Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
Except for
those.
Wow. Who shall we name?
One of them is Schwim. Which
that
one
one's
is?
I'm trying to finish my garbage beer up too. The can is like green on it a little bit, greenish yellow. Not very good.
Are you finishing what was left in the fridge when you moved in currently?
That was last week.
Not bad.
That was the last one?
There's one other one that's been in there since I moved in that I haven't touched. The heady topper was one, the heady topper was one, and Focal Banger, and then there's some stout that's been in there forever. I haven't touched it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. That's gonna stay in there for quite a bit longer.
I'll come and drink the stout. Screw it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll drink whatever. So, but
we always talk about having one of those nights. We never do.
Well,
I still got
most of the issues that we are older men who cannot drink like we used to.
I can.
I still try really damn hard.
You could try, but usually what happens is I wake up the next morning and I am incapable of raising two small human beings. So it's a disaster class after that.
Well.
I mean, you guys don't have to raise humans afterwards.
You're correct. In fact, we won't repeat it here, but one day after hockey, all the guys were talking about their children. And I looked at Steven. I said, "Steven, what do you do with your children?" And he gave a response that everybody laughed at.
I can only imagine.
Am I due to say something regarding that? Since
yes.
I think I broke the streak last week, though.
They go down the drain, basically, is what we're referring to.
They go for a swim through the public waterways.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Just grunting at me. Okay.
Let me get it.
On Saturday, I went
William
to
O'Dean.
Treehouse, which is run actually by an Irish gentleman from Massachusetts. It's in Charlton. There's a bunch of obviously breweries other breweries for Treehouse in the Boston, Massachusetts area, as well as Connecticut. And I got Juicelius, which is, I mean, there's a lot on this, but
How much lactose?
no lactose.
Yeah.
Includes mango,
Says
guava,
you.
peach, pineapple, passion fruit, and tangerine.
Ooh.
Zero lactose. I got all the beers I got because I went up there with my boy Steven in mind, and I got 6 4-packs. Are all non-lactose, and there were ones with lactose. I treat my buddy well. I try.
By getting yourself
sometimes
beer
I get
that doesn't
duped.
have lactose. Okay.
Sometimes I get duped. There are beers that look delicious, and I get them, and I read them later. And I'm like, crap. No, but I don't offer him those beers. Although I did give him one in a somewhat intoxicated manner.
Yeah, you drunkenly handed me a beer. I take
A
it home.
lactose
It
beer.
says, big letters, contains lactose.
Lactose.
Yeah.
Esteban, you're
I give him
getting
one.
that lactose hat one of these days.
Lactose hat.
It will be edited.
Interesting. It shall be lactard. All right, let's go what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. The name of the title is the Never-Ending Rebuild, which would obviously refer to one said team who will now miss the playoffs for a 14th straight season. Actually, I don't think they're officially. Are they officially
14th or 15th?
No, 14th.
I don't think they're mathematically eliminated. But
yes,
they're
not mathematically, but they
out.
sit last with 58 points. They are
not even close.
14 points behind the Rangers with 3 games in hand. So I guess technically they could they could make it, but they're 3-6-1 in their last 10.
They have to win out
19-3,
and everyone has to lose,
and then hope that a bunch of losses happen. Yeah.
There's no way.
So I wanted to ask you guys this question just off the cuff because pretty much I think that's what their GM Kevin Adams and their ownership is doing is off the cuff. What would you do? What moves or what would you do in order to bring this team back? Because on the surface, Rasmus Dahlin, top 5, 10 defenseman in the league. Tage Thompson, top 15 center, 20 center, 15, 20 in that range. They have some really good young wingers. They have other good young defensemen on that roster. Their goaltender, they had a once promising Levi, and, they have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and some other guys. Not too bad of a goaltending situation. Coach, I think, has been horrible.
Number one.
It's just continually been horribles.
Number
but
one.
Right the GM, I think, is the other one, and I think ownership is another. So, but obviously we can't get rid of the ownership. We can say, all right, let's get rid of the GM. What would you do? Is there a move you would make? Is there something you would, try to do to get this team righted? Because you had Rasmus Dahlin go to his management and say, hey, what's the program here? Because I just signed a long-term contract and it's not going great. And you have younger guys like JJ Peterka who want to leave.
No.
Yeah.
No, and
so
nobody wants to. I can't believe Zucker resigned, to be completely honest with you. I think that's totally crazy. I also don't know how much
did you get from that, by the way.
made.
Who's the other one?
I don't know.
Oh, they get Greenway.
Yeah, who got a raise for some reason.
Well, because
I don't know if they have
I'd like to get a raise for
their families are there. Well, I gave you my insight. I mean, everybody else can chime in, and I'll chime in as we go. But I think number one has to be get a real coach, get a real live hockey coach.
By the way, quickly, Zucker got 2 years, $4.75 million per year. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay,
he's having a decent year, so I guess good for him.
He probably could have gotten more somewhere else on the open market.
Oh yeah,
maybe All right, so Steven, what would you do? Sorry.
Number one is get a real live hockey coach. I'm not crazy about the GM either, but I think number one, get an actual coach.
Is there anyone you have in mind? Anyone you think that they could go after or should go after? Let's put it this way. Here's their last 5.
They need a newbie. I think they need a newbie.
Here's their last 5 head coaches.
Get something fresh in there.
Lindy Ruff, who is their current coach, who is horrible. Don Granato, Ralph Kruger, who lasted 2 years. Phil Housley, 2 years. Dan Bylsma, 2 years. Ted Nolan.
Jeez, I forgot Bylsma went
for like how many times was he there?
Yeah. Ted Nolan, Ron Ralston, and then you go back to Lindy Ruff, who was fired in 2013 and was the last coach they had in the playoffs.
I don't know.
I mean, there's got to be some between assistant coaches, current assistant coaches, or even potentially AHL coaches. I'm not aware of who's coaching the Hershey Bears, but I mean, they've been
good.
a powerhouse for two straight years now. So he's doing something right down there. Because as far as I know that
turnover. Oh, Todd Nelson is the coach.
Is the coach in Hershey?
Yeah, Todd Nelson.
Yeah, so
it was.
I mean,
what's his face? It was Carberry.
Maybe.
And this guy took over.
It was Carberry.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, Kruger was the one before Lindy Ruff. Was it Granato?
No, two before. It was Granato, and then Kruger.
Kruger is the one who came up and made an immediate impact, though, right? And they actually started to do well. And then I believe they started the next season really well, also, which they tend to do for whatever reason, every season. But and that's like a new, fresh voice, not the same recycled crap over and over again. So I think that's a good formula right there. A coach similar to that, somebody who can work with young players and has some success somewhere, and not just whoever is the last head coach that got fired and just hire him. But no, I'm absolutely not thrilled with any of their acquisitions and anything they did at the trade deadline, or the fact that they even bothered. If they seriously were shopping or continued to shop JJ Peterka in the off season, then GM I think skyrockets to number one priority, because JJ Peterka needs to stay there if they're going to build.
Although he said he wants to leave, right? He said he.
Well, I don't blame any of them for wanting to leave.
Wants to stay there.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to sign there.
Yeah, yeah. Ralph Kruger, by the way, who went from hockey to soccer. He was the director of Southampton, and then came back to hockey. You want to know a funny stat about Ralph Kruger? He was fired March 17th of 2021. At the time, they were on a 12-game win streak.
When he was fired.
That's like Lou Lamoriello type stuff right there. That's Lou Lamoriello stuff.
They are, yeah. It's a special group over there. Listen, Buffalo Sabres.
Somebody's wife.
Tage Thompson.
Something's going on.
Obviously, you have Josh Norris. You have a couple centers that you hope to build around. I think they need to make a big swing.
If they're shooting for next season's draft, number one pick, and getting what's his face? Not this. The next big prospect.
There's always the next big prospect.
I don't know. It seems like they're down
to 26.
Yeah, and they're just. It just seems like they're constantly downgrading their roster, and they get some pieces that seem like it would be okay. Maybe they'll make a playoff push, but you're not totally convinced because it's the Buffalo Sabres. But it's like maybe they'll make a playoff push, and then they're awful, and anybody of value they just trade, and then I don't know. They're not drafting very well, obviously. I mean, Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power were basically slam dunks, so they got that. Their pick before that, Jack Eichel, gone, and he's heavily thought of as one of the best centers in the game. I mean, if you take out the obvious ones like the McDavid and McKinnon, and even probably Draisaitl, he's right up there. If you ask the rest of the league, at least. So, it's just like you said, 14 straight seasons, and I chimed in. I don't see any end in sight. They're not going to make it next year. Will they make a push the year after that? Who knows? But certainly not this year. And by all, clues that they're giving us, absolutely not next year either. Next year, they're looking like they're going to be, again, one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah. Two separate sports, but who do you think makes the playoffs first? The New York Jets, who also have a 14-game losing streak. They're technically the longest because football season ends before hockey. Or the Buffalo Sabres.
Who makes the playoffs first? The Sabres.
Yeah. Oh,
really?
God.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think probably
pretty awful.
I think probably the Jets.
Maybe neither of them ever make the playoffs.
Just they keep extending the streaks. Just keep going.
Yep.
Speaking of that, I saw
they moved to a
I saw
different city.
something today, Dean. It was like some AI, Chat GPT or whatever, predicted the next, I don't know how many Super Bowl champions.
Oh.
And I looked at it.
I know they did in
And,
basketball.
I sent the basketball
no.
to you guys with Edmonton.
I
in
saw
1990.
Edmonton.
Yeah, the Oilers.
I saw
winning it.
the I saw the graphic for the Super Bowl champions. Here it is.
Yeah.
So
They don't have the
here
Jets
we
at
go,
all, do
Dean.
they?
You've got a brand new expansion team in Toronto, some team called the Aztecs, some team called the Defenders,
Ooh.
all winning the Super Bowl by 2044. The Giants
Okay.
and a Monarchs team, which I have no idea where they're from, winning
Monarchs.
by
Okay.
2048, which is when the Rangers, I believe, are allowed to win the cup again. The Aztecs win it again. The Buffalo Bills win 3 Super Bowls by
Ooh,
2050. 2050. Toronto wins their second. The Monarchs win 2 more by 2066. And by 2071, ChatGPT predicts the Jets to win their next Super Bowl.
2071. Wow.
2071.
Is that over 100 years?
2071.
Yes, it would be over 100 years.
Yeah, 69 to set. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 fictitious
6.
Super Bowl champions of teams that don't yet exist win the Super Bowl prior to them, and even the Dallas Cowboys win before them. They predicted Dallas to win in 2032.
Yeah. That's the New York Jets for you. So
They've also predicted the Dolphins to win it twice. No, 3 times before the Jets win it again.
Wow.
What about
Did
the
you guys
Sorry,
either
guys.
you two Denver Broncos?
There is no.
What about
is no
No
Denver
Broncos on there?
Bronco on here.
Atlanta
No
Falcons.
Broncos.
Maybe they're renamed.
Falcons are not on here. San Francisco wins twice. The Bears win. San Francisco wins 3 times before the Jets win it again, and the Carolina Panthers win it 4 times before the Jets win it again, and the Lions win it 3 times prior to the Jets winning the Super Bowl.
The Oilers win the NBA championship in 2050. Is that what it was?
2090.
Sorry, guy. 2071.
2090. Edmonton Oilers are your NBA champions.
2071.
Oh man.
Should Shorts or Shrim have any moves you think for the rebuilding?
You know,
we were
I'm
talking
gonna
about that.
I'm gonna throw this out there. And because having had him on our bench and seeing the difference with and without him, and he's currently not doing well with a roster of great veteran players, is Andrew Burnett in Nashville.
Yeah.
He's doing terribly with veteran players. And I am still convinced that Andrew Burnett was really the main voice in the room when he was with the Devils, which is why we did fantastic with him as an assistant. And then when he was gone, we were terrible. And it was just Lindy Ruff and we were terrible. So Andrew Burnett may be the guy to bring in because he can do something with young players. You know, the Devils fans have seen it. That could be your guy if you can get him away from Nashville, which Nashville's doing terribly, and they may be willing to let him walk.
I feel like Burnett, though, he needs almost like a Mike Sullivan type trajectory where he was an assistant and then they gave him a head coaching job and it went badly.
Awful.
And then he went back to assisting for a little bit and then was the head coach of Wilkes-Barre and then became Pittsburgh's head coach and then kind of really took off from there. So I think that a lot of coaches that are young like that, I feel like that's a good. Nobody really talks about developing young coaches too.
No, they don't.
Developing
Everyone
young
just
players.
recycles.
Yeah. So well, that's the thing. I mean, it's just the old boys club or whatever with coaches, and it's just the same guys who might have had some success at some point during the course of their career.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're going to come here and have that same success. I don't know. I'm not saying I dislike the Burnett idea. I think that could be really good because he did have good success. And I think he was also pegged as because he was in, right. He went from Florida to
to us,
and then to you guys as an assistant, and then back to Nashville as a head coach. So yeah, I mean, maybe I think that's a good. I think that's definitely a good candidate, at least for Buffalo.
And I'm really solidly convinced that it was him as the main voice in the room with kind of Lindy Ruff there helping him, because that was our best season. So that combo again, if Burnett is, and he was an associate coach, he wasn't an assistant coach, he was an associate coach, which makes me, which leads me to believe that there was more to him in the coaching day to day than just like, hey, you should do this. It was more like he was leaned upon a lot. So that to me, with Nashville, I mean, Nashville went into this season, supposedly going to be, one of the best, with their signings and free agency and blah, 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 blah. And they're terrible, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. He could be. He seems to be good with young players, because we've seen him with young players in the Devils and was really well. We've seen with veteran players with Nashville. I mean, aside from telling them not to go to, to that show at the Sphere, maybe that's the type of situation he needs where he can have full control, and really be like that. I don't want to say domineering voice in the room, but kind of have guys that are like, completely buying in. Whereas some of the veteran guys may be like, yeah, Andy, we got it, Andy. Where they don't give him as much credence as maybe a bunch of young guys would, which Buffalo's got a bunch of young guys. So Burnett could be a good candidate for them.
I'm also not even. I have no idea like what Burnett's actual like system is either, because I mean when you sign all those veterans right in the offseason, and they made all these big splashes for these guys that were playing in other systems fairly well, and I don't know how easy it is for some of these guys to adjust to like a brand new system like that. And especially, it's one thing if you replace the coach on a team and that team now is implementing the new coach's system versus a new player to a team trying to adjust to a new system that's new to the entirety of the team. Right? So I don't know the complications behind that, but I don't know. I don't want to say Burnett's the reason why Nashville is so bad. I think it's just like a mishmash of the wrong players.
I was just going to bring it up. Did they just bring in players to bring in players?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
To sell jerseys,
and nobody saw it coming, right? Nobody knew Nashville was going to end up signing all these freaking guys.
No,
out of nowhere.
Stamkos, Marchessault, those are guys that'll sell you jerseys.
Yeah,
but do they work well together? And that's one of the things where I think that Tom Fitzgerald, for some crap he got at the trade deadline, he's more than willing to find the right players to fit the system or to just hold instead of just signing. Like who would have thought right now at least? Who would have thought Cody Glass would have come here and score goals?
He's got two, right? 2 goals.
It's something like that. He's been playing well, and the Devils are currently up 2-0 against the BJs. But even someone like Paul Cotter, coming in and playing, because that was a very talked about trade and kind of like, we send Holtz for Cotter. Who's Cotter? Blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, Cotter's like, a stalwart, consistent player on our third and fourth lines, and Alexander Holtz is in the AHL. And no, Cody Glass has not yet scored tonight. Timo Meyer has a goal with an assist by Nason and Heischer, and Jesper Bratt, who's searching for his franchise-leading assist,
so bad.
Just scored unassisted. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of change of scenery is like someone like Cody Glass. Like
it helps.
It does help, and I think so. I mean, all joking aside, when I was like, Nashville gave us a 3rd round pick and 6th round pick just to take him off their hands.
Yeah.
Watching him play, he's noticeable. He's a fine player. He's 25, but for whatever reason, and Sullivan said it in many interviews when Cody Glass had good games, it's just like I feel like there's another level he can get his game to, and he just wasn't. I didn't expect him to be traded. I thought he was going to be, one of these younger guys that they might keep on the team because he was doing well. But he just doesn't show up on the score sheet. But he does a lot of other things right. Like, he's not a bad player by any means. He just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but maybe, he's been shuffled around a lot now. Maybe he finds something, because he's certainly not bad. But I also think he gave us a 3rd-round pick in Chase Stillman and
who's
somebody else.
Beer Baron saw him play the other night, last night. He said he didn't look good at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's also 21, right? Chase Stillman, I think.
He's got time. We'd take him on our teams in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah. We're friggin' 40-year-old beer leaguers. So I'll take any 21-year-old at this point.
We would even take Grant Marshall, who's older than us.
But also, in the same view, when Pittsburgh had that trade where they took I don't know whose money did they take on to go to end up going to Toronto.
Luca Shen.
Carlo, right? Carlo.
Oh, you took money on the Carlo deal?
I think we retained salary on the Carlo deal.
Wow.
Because there's 1 year left, and then we took Connor Timmins and Connor Dewar, and I knew of Connor Timmins. I knew of Connor Dewar, but I was like, all right, that's weird. Like, why would you want those guys? And Connor Dewar comes over. He's got 3 goals in 4 games. He had no goals in 31 games. So sometimes you just never know when you take a flyer on these guys. So
that's what I like about Fitzgerald is he kind of gets the feel of if these guys are going to fit in, not
the
just
system, right?
Are they going to fit in with the group? Or are they going to fit in with the system? Which I think
a lot goes to your scouting crew too. Because they have the analytics and consult the coaching and the GMs about who could potentially
and the other
be
players,
a good fit.
and the other players too. Like a lot of these players, you can at least find a player on your team who has played with or against someone you want to bring in, and it has a lot to say. Like we have played with a lot of guys. Through the course of the 4 of us growing up and playing. And there are guys that we love playing with. There are guys that we hate playing with. And there are guys that, even playing against, like some guys are great to play against. And if we could play with them, that would be great. And there are some guys that we play against. And we're like, yeah, no, that guy's a douche. So it's hey, dirtiest player in the league.
Or whoever that bro was last week.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what his name is.
It's probably pro.
Also, by the way, Connor Timmins, the defenseman they acquired in that same trade, +7 in 4 games.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey.
All right.
Goal and 2 assists, I think.
Not too shabby.
Why you would do that?
All right, couple of quick things for you guys. Right off the bat, if I said the name Brad Marchand, Hall of Famer or not, if he stopped playing at the end of the season?
Brad Marchand, you said?
Yep.
This
has been a big name of debate recently in Twitter.
I don't know.
He's got a cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's like
also
right on the
gold
fringe there.
I think he's a gold medal for. I think he won World Juniors. I'm pretty sure he won a gold medal.
He has at least 1 Olympic gold. At least 1. I think he has 2. Because I believe the 2 that Crosby won, or the 2 that Crosby captained, he was his line with Patrice Bergeron. I think it was both of those. So I think he has the credentials. I think it's possible. He's not I don't know that I would call him like a slam dunk, but I could.
He's not a first ballot.
I would be if he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. I would be in favor of it. I wouldn't be opposed.
Okay.
But I can think of guys who should get in before him.
I'm on the fence too. I think he's very close.
Yeah.
If Marchand gets in before McGillney, that's crap.
McGillney should have been like 5 years ago.
Years ago.
Yes.
But if the rat liquor decides to, or the licking rat, whatever you want to call it, gets in before McGillney, like that's a crime against the sport, because Alexander McGillney should be in the Hall, and at some point, 3rd, 4th balloter, Marchand, yeah, but McGillney has to get in before him.
So I don't see him as I'm on the international play unless it's not recorded on here. But record medals, he's got IHF World Championship. He's got the
Who's
Canada
this?
Cup World
Marchand?
Cup. Marchand, 2016. He's got the Four Nations Face-Off. He's got the World Junior Championships. And he's got
Wow, the Four Nations face-off. Holy crap. That just like throws him in
That's
right
at the
away.
top of
First
the list.
I do
balloter.
not see
First
Olympics.
balloter.
I don't see anything about Olympic.
Is there a spot in the hall for guys that lick players that lick other players?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows?
You know
something
what?
I saw that was,
and I hope that that's like the bust or the whatever the plaque is. It's just him licking somebody.
The bronze bust.
Yeah,
Just him with his tongue out.
licking someone. Although I got a feel for the guy because it sounds like from everything that's coming out, like he tried really, really hard to stay in Boston, and they just kind of gave him the FU.
Yeah.
Which you know at
He
this
can still
point
sign
also, but it makes it no surprise in why Swayman held out for as long as he did. Like if the front office is being that douchey with your captain, like you know.
Yeah, and he was just named captain last season, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
last season.
I believe so.
And
yeah.
you already
They had a
and
year
I don't know
off.
how is that your like first of all, how did he make it this far into the season without a contract extension? Number one.
Yeah.
Like he
'Cause
should
the
have
front
had
apparently
office-
that
yeah.
extension.
He wants like
And
$2 million more.
But he's your captain, right? And you're not paying anybody else on
Yeah.
that roster besides Pasta.
Yeah.
So it's just like now what? You lose
And
Bergeron,
Swayman.
and now like, well, and yeah, I guess Swayman too because he's making way too much. In retrospect, maybe he'll
Yeah.
get his game back at some point, but I don't know. I don't know how that's just like not your number one priority to just keep your captain and figure something out.
Timeout. 4 points in 4 games for Cody Glass, on the same list as people like Doug Gilmour and Tommy Abilene. So just throwing it out there. Anyway, it just flashed on the screen. Sorry.
Does he have a point tonight too?
Not yet, but there's still a whole 20 to go.
Yep, I'm getting stared at.
Yes, you are. It's one of those like I don't know. Like Marchand sounds like I said, sounded like he tried to stay in Boston, but the front office is just being dumb. And you can get his jersey cheap, but now he's out there licking players with Florida.
I mean, it's a fabulous way to go if that's what you want to do with your life.
Hey, that's why they made OnlyFans.
I really hate that guy. I don't think I've hated. I mean, him, Tom Wilson. Like, there are some real POSs.
Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, but Brad Marchand.
Jacob Trouba.
As Brad Marchand.
He seems so.
I can't think of a specific instance in which he injured somebody
on purpose. No.
Yeah.
He licked players. That's about it. Exactly.
Because we're not talking. Yeah, I mean, you can't compare him to Tom Wilson because Tom Wilson
or Rempe.
Well, Rempe just took Wilson's game and upped it quite a bit.
Which I got a story about Rempe for towards the end, but Brad Marchand to me, when he got the captaincy, became more of a mature player. And I gained more respect for him when he took that captaincy and he basically cut the crap. And he actually became an actual leader and a more mature player.
I mean, that pesky stuff, like, I mean, yeah, it's like some of it might be like immature or whatever, but
Jesus Christ.
It's also a role.
Yeah.
And it becomes like you at some point, and I don't think it could be. You could argue as potentially captain material because you draw a lot of attention to yourself, and then the rest of the team can kind of go about their business because everybody's focusing on Marchand. I actually don't. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of things that he did. Of course, I absolutely don't condone, and I think are borderline from weird to gross or whatever. Yeah, and dumb. But like, I think he's a phenomenal player. And like I said, I don't remember specifically any instance where he intentionally injured somebody. I can't think off the top of my head, at least. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but I can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up. I mean, there's a lot where like Bennett injured
suspended.
Marchand, P.O. Joseph injured Marchand. There's a lot of like people injuring him, but I don't see anything about the other.
Yeah,
way.
but
that's him getting under their skin. You know, I mean, he's one of those players where you love to play with him, you hate to play against him.
Yeah.
And again, some of our teammates have and are that player where you like playing with them, but if you were playing against them, holy hell, you'd hate to go up against them.
And as far as anything that I've ever read coming from his own teammates, he's like the consummate teammate.
Just genuine person too, like a genuine person off the ice. Like he plays, like you said, Guy.
Great to the fans.
He plays that role.
Fans like him.
He plays that role on the ice, but he's like a really good giving person off the ice. Will do whatever. You know, whatever is needed, whatever is asked, even things that aren't asked, and he'll do things quietly. Like I'm sure stuff will come out upon his retirement, where he was more of a good human being than any of us realize. You know, it's just
also
the things that we.
His biz nasty digs were pretty.
They are very funny.
I think those alone can get you into the Hall of Fame.
I hate that he's on Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I
knew that was the only team he wanted to go to, but like. That really
and I didn't like it. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Boston, but like, I don't know. I feel like if he were in a Stanley Cup final on any other team, I wouldn't have a problem rooting for him.
Yeah,
that's just me. And I typically don't like, I don't like sneaky, dirty players. But like I said, No, he wasn't the one who bit somebody, right? Did somebody bite somebody, or was he the one who bit somebody?
He didn't. It wasn't him. It was somebody else, wasn't it?
Luis
Suarez,
Steph Docker, Mike Tyson.
Was that like Perron or somebody random bit somebody's finger?
Oh no, that definitely wasn't him.
Changing it up. These are records. These are records for two teams. We'll go back to back. Colorado Avalanche 10-5 over this stretch. Carolina Hurricanes 5-8. Carolina Hurricanes over this stretch 4-0. Dallas Stars 1-2-1. I asked the question: is Mikko Rantanen a locker room cancer?
Could be.
If he's cancer, then I want cancer.
I want cancer.
I'll take it if he is. If that's what he is.
I mean, Colorado won a cup with him, so and decidedly so. So I'm not.
I just like how that's all the Hurricanes players say is that he's a locker room. The Hurricanes fans,
because he didn't want to be there.
Cancer.
Like he had no choice.
Even the governor,
he didn't want to be
even
there.
The governor came out and said, "Good riddance."
Yeah, you're an idiot.
I mean, if somebody got traded to my team and was just like, if somebody got traded to Pittsburgh, they immediately show up and they're like, "Sorry, I'm not staying here," and then they like. I'm not pissed at the player. Like, I'm actually grateful that he said that immediately so you can get him out of there. And I'm pissed at my general manager for not doing his due diligence of figuring out whether or not this massive acquisition is going to stay.
Which you're giving up pieces
or just
for.
Be a rental. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or is it just going to be a really expensive rental? Like, one of the two. Like, tell us what it is. And after getting burned by Gensel, not specifically by Gensel, but in the Gensel trade, as a fan, getting burned by your GM with the Gensel trade.
They're trying to flip the script to try to draw the attention away from how stupid they've been with these two players.
Yep.
Like, oh, he was a jerk. That's why we got rid of him. Like, no, you're an idiot for not like doing your job correctly at all, including on the trade deadline. I still can't get over that quote that he had on the trade deadline. It blows my mind that they couldn't acquire. He ran out of time. Because he was dealing with the Rantanen.
I feel like that's a fireable offense right there.
That
just
is
to
so
openly
bad.
Admit that to the public.
That's bad.
This is the same team that decides to go with what, 3 goalies, and they decide to just kind of go with their goalie trio and tandem or whatever you want to call it, and not bring in someone that's an out-and-out starter.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah, I mean, they thought they got that in Freddie Anderson, but I don't think when was the last time Freddie Anderson went into a postseason healthy? Like, I feel like he's entering the postseason
he gets hurt
on injured reserve or gets hurt in the playoffs immediately.
Yeah,
so
immediately.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And Kochetkov, I think, is a fine goaltender, but
He's
I don't.
okay, but he's not going to win you a cup.
Yeah.
Probably not. Not that roster.
No.
Yeah, not that roster.
And Rantanen could have also not liked the coaching style of.
He could have it could have been like
maybe,
crap.
but he
got traded.
He
He had no
openly
choice.
said he didn't want
to
be there. Yeah,
didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
his family, like him and his family. I don't know what his family situation is.
He was
like he doesn't want to be.
He was blindsided by that trade.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And again, and I'm going to throw this out there.
This.
I'm going to throw this out there. If any of the four of us or anybody listening, in their jobs, were completely moved to somewhere like Utah.
That would be so
nowhere.
funny if this was actually capable of happening, where you could just get shipped all of a sudden somewhere.
Traded out of nowhere. That'd
but
be
would
awesome.
any of us be happy? Like, you have to look at it like
God
that.
God damn it! I have to go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd rather go to Puerto Rico because there's a beach there instead of Utah. But would any of us be happy if we got shipped off to like Flin Flon?
Flin Flon, there it is again. No, no. Yeah, you'd want to say into where you're going, and like I respect his honesty. I mean, I don't.
I do too.
He gets there, just like, listen, I'm not signing here.
Yeah,
and I think that honesty saved. I think that saved their GM
from looking like
he
an
ended
even
up
bigger.
Yeah,
jerk.
because if they fizzle out, right, and they don't win, and then he leaves again.
He looks like an idiot, but he doesn't look like a complete idiot.
Just a partial idiot.
Right.
Yeah, there's still a big stain on his pants.
He's not an absolute idiot. He's just an idiot.
He just, he was able to get something back for his mistake instead of it just walking, kind of like Gensel did.
Gensel. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of his former teammate, good news. Gabriel Landeskog is actually skating with the team. He participated in a couple of drills, obviously flow and go, non-contact stuff. He was joking that he was going to play at the Toronto Maple Leafs on Wednesday. And he's going to travel with the Avs during their 3-game road trip, but there's still no timetable. He has not skated since the 2022 Cup run because of this knee injury, so 5 years now. 3 years now. It's just a good story. You hope that he can make it back because you talk about a guy giving his all to win a championship, and he pretty much did that, right? This could have been a serious career ender, and it's these guys do go through.
How old is he now?
He's 32.
All right, so he's still got a couple years in there, hopefully.
Yeah,
I mean, but coming back from
being a depth guy,
his injury
depends on how he recovers.
Really tough.
Yeah,
because if he comes back and ends up just like I don't know,
there's no way he's going to be anywhere near.
No, he'll be a depth guy.
Productive.
He's gonna have to.
I'd say
he's gonna have to be a third, fourth liner.
Yeah.
Why not? I would take him. I would take him as a fourth liner on my team.
Well,
also, that's a big. Can they fit him under the cap if they activate him before the playoffs?
They won't activate him before the playoffs. There's no way.
They'll wait till the playoffs.
No, yeah, they'll have to wait till the playoffs because I don't think
they'll pull
they can't fit him under the cap.
Cap.
They had to in the beginning of the season hold his cap.
Tampa's old news with the circumvention now. All right?
Tampa was the first. Tampa was the originator of the cap circumvention, so it's always Tampa.
Alexander Ovechkin.
Circumcision.
887. He's 8 away from Gretzky. I don't think he hits the record this season.
Really?
It's not looking good right now. He's got
games
like
left?
16 games left, right?
16,
I think he gets it this
season.
season.
Score every other game.
Brooke Amanda's looking to see him do it this season.
I hope he does. I don't know.
I really do kind of hope if he does, it's in that last game against the Penguins.
Brooke Amanda, I would say you said nowhere in the Midwest. Colorado, you should try out Denver.
Pittsburgh's home.
Aspen.
It'd be in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Colorado's
not the Midwest.
It is too. How's that not Midwest?
It is not the Midwest. The Midwest is your Rust Belt state.
Where do you consider that?
Ohio, Indiana, Illinois,
what is
Wisconsin,
that
Minnesota. Colorado, that's the West.
Yeah.
That's the Rocky Mountain region. That's the West. It's the West. It's not the Midwest.
Half the state is before the Rockies.
It's not the Midwest. It's the Great Plains.
It's pretty damn close.
The Great Plains. It's not the Midwest.
All right. Well, anyways, fine. Whatever. The outskirts of the Midwest. You jerk. Yeah, I'm actually running out of things to talk about because I didn't prepare for this podcast.
So we're ad-libbing. All right.
We are.
Love it.
Let's
Love
do
it.
standings because it is fun to kind of go through and see who is. What the Eastern Conference wildcard race is ridiculous. So we'll do West first. Winnipeg, Dallas, Avs in the Central. Dallas and the Avalanche are going to play each other round one, which is just absolutely bonkers and should not be happening.
No.
In the West Pacific, you have Vegas, Edmonton, and the Kings. For the wild card, you have Minnesota Wild. There are 6 points ahead of Vancouver for the second wild card.
How many years in a row is the first round going to be Kings Oilers? Is this going to be 3 or 4 straight years?
It could be 3. Oh no, it might be 4. You're right. It might be 4. It was definitely 3. This would it's close.
Definitely the last 2 were definitely in the first round. I think the year before may not have been the first round, but it was at some point. I don't know. I keep picking LA to beat Edmonton. I'm always wrong.
Yeah, no.
Gonna pick them again.
As long as they have
Can
the studs,
you pick
they'll
Edmonton
win.
so the opposite happens, please?
Yep.
It's true.
It should do that.
Vancouver,
Every
once again,
instinct you have is
second
wrong.
hard.
The opposite must be right.
Yeah, the second wild card was 73. St. Louis Blues at 73, and then you have Calgary and Utah with 71. That rounds out the
Let's go Utes.
second wild. Yeah, I want Utes. All right, Eastern Conference, where it is an absolute cluster F.
Oh, it's
Florida.
insane.
Florida, Tampa, and the Leafs. Florida, Tampa, and the Leafs. Tampa and the Leafs are tied at 81. Florida's at 85. Metro, Washington.
Ottawa's not very far behind either.
No, Ottawa's only like 4 or 5
They
points
are at
behind.
77. They're 4 points behind Toronto. Yep. Metro, Washington, Carolina, Jersey. Jersey is 1 point ahead of Ottawa. Jersey is 6 points ahead of the Rangers.
Yeah, no one's catching. The New Jersey's staying in that 2-3
Yeah, those
spot.
3 are set. It's going to be a while.
Even though their roster,
Yeah.
I do not like their roster at all. I think they're in a lot of
sucks.
trouble going into the playoffs. But I don't think they're in any threat of losing out to the Rangers or Columbus or.
No, Columbus.
Columbus
was looking good, and now they've hit a freaking
They were.
wall, and now they're losing like 4 or 5 in a row now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to it. Wild card. Ottawa Senators sit at 77. They're 5 points ahead of the Rangers, who sit at second. Now here's the teams after for the second wild card.
It's insane.
So the Rangers have 2 games ahead of Canadians, Jackets, and Islanders, and and Boston. They're 2 games ahead of Canadians, Blue Jackets, and Islanders. They're 1 game ahead of the Red Wings, and they're tied with Boston. Technically, I guess Pittsburgh could also get up there, but they're 1 game. The Rangers have 1 game in hand, and they're 6 points ahead. So they're not looking so pretty. But Islanders, you thought they were dead, and all of a sudden they make this run. Detroit Red Wings are hanging around. Columbus has fallen. All of a sudden, the Montreal Canadiens have a better points percentage than these other teams. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10.
I think what's unfortunate with all this is that all of these teams are bad.
Or horrible.
All of them.
Yeah.
So it's like whoever's getting that 8th spot. I mean, you've seen crazy things happen with the 8th seed, but all of these teams
enough to make it
aren't good, and none of them really made any kind of split. I think all of them made the realization that we're not making the playoffs. We're not going to be buyers. If we make a push, cool. Some of them even sold off.
Ottawa,
like Boston,
Ottawa. Well, yeah, you're not counting Ottawa, but
I think Ottawa's. I'm not counting Ottawa. I think Ottawa's going to stay there.
Yeah, Montreal stayed. Columbus, did they add anybody? I don't think
so.
They did. I think they kind of stayed status quo. Detroit added
remember.
because they added a goaltender and they added someone else.
Detroit just beat Vegas.
Islanders traded their best player, and the Boston Bruins traded their best players. So
players. Yeah.
Boston had a freaking fire sale.
Yeah.
So Boston, I feel like Boston will. I can't imagine Boston makes it. So I can't even tell you who's going to end up in that spot. Probably the Rangers.
Yeah, I think the Rangers, because of regulation wins, actually have the tiebreaker on everybody because they have 30 and the next closest is 24.
That's good.
Listen, if the Rangers didn't make it, I would absolutely want Columbus because the story, Johnny Gaudreau, they've obviously had a tough season, so I would hope it'd be them. Who would you rather have? Montreal, Red Wings, Islanders, Bruins?
I just want the Devils to do well.
Well, I asked you who you would want in the fourth.
I'd rather Montreal.
I wouldn't mind somebody going on like a tear.
Well,
and
it won't happen, but yes.
Sneaking past into there, and then maybe having somebody going in with some like real momentum. But I mean, I don't think any of those teams are capable of going on a lengthy winning streak.
It's the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other, like, you take it, you take it, you
definitely.
take it.
That was last
it's
year.
Ridiculous.
That was what was it, last year, the year before? No, it was last year.
Last year,
like,
nobody wanted to take it.
Who wants that last spot? And that was
that was in the
Spider-Man
Western
meme.
Conference, right? Though, because I think the top 8 teams were the top 8 teams for like January on, right? From the Eastern Conference, wasn't that last year?
No, the Eastern Conference.
Starting
that was the one where everyone was losing.
Washington
was
spot.
losing
Everyone was
for
battling
8.
it out. Then Washington finally got it at the end.
Yeah,
that's right.
Over the last 3 years, the last 3 seasons,
top
the wild card spot has gotten competitive. But I think the previous seasons before that, it was just like the top 8, and no one was close.
No,
mm-hmm.
I want it to come
we
down
agree
to the last
that
10.
it has
I
to
want
go back
to be
to 1-8, right?
Definitely
Yes.
that. I'm sick
100%.
of this friggin' this divisional play is so
It's
stupid.
horrible.
Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
It's worthless.
It's sad that you're going to have one of one of Florida, Tampa, Toronto out in the first round, and one of Dallas or Colorado out in the first round. That is the dumbest thing possible, because these teams are all
go back to straight
should be
1
second
through
round
8
teams. Yeah.
Go back to straight 1 through 8. Go back to 1 through 8. That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
They should do all their games against. Nobody plays. Everybody plays everybody in the East. Everybody plays everybody in the West. They don't play each other twice or whatever they have.
Last quick question before we get out of here. Obviously, we know that Nathan McKinnon and Leon Draisaitl are the favorites for the Hart at this moment. McKinnon, 103 points. Draisaitl, 101. Draisaitl has 49 goals, which is 12 ahead of the next guy. Is Connor Hellebuyck, though, making his case for Hart Trophy? He's the first goalie in 5 years under a 2 goals against average. His save percentage is a 927.
Is it possible to set a record for wins in a season?
I think he's exactly 2, isn't he?
No,
he's
199.
I thought he was exactly went up to
NHL.com
2.
right now. I mean, unless NHL.com didn't update.
I think he is. I think so too. I think he is a big reason. Like Winnipeg's a good team, but I think with him they're great. I saw him play 2 Fridays ago, and the Devils, unfortunately put up no fight against the Jets, and it was just a debacle. It was about how many times can Simon Nemec make a mistake to lead to a Jets goal. In case you're wondering, the number that he set was 3 in the last 7 minutes of the game. 3 mistakes led to 3 immediate goals.
1.
But I think Connor Hellebuyck is definitely making a play for Hart Trophy, because
I mean you can put him as the third, but he's
playing well.
Absolutely not.
I think he could win it.
Makar
I think he could win.
I think he can win it too.
Makar's having a fucking fantastic season for.
Yeah, Makar's doing really well. And same thing for defensemen too. Zach Werenski, he's played so well on a team that really shouldn't. He's got 20 goals as a defenseman. Kel Makar's got 25. But yeah, they're both.
Makar's gonna hit 30.
Ridiculous.
They have. Yeah. Listen, if the defensemen have their own trophy, the goalies have their own trophy, it's gonna go to.
So do the forwards.
Well, there's the scoring, right? There's the scoring and the goal scoring, but it's not best forward.
Scoring and Selke.
There's best defenseman. There's best goaltender. There's the Art Ross, right? There's the defensive forward.
But the Hart's for the best overall player.
Richard. Yeah, but that is
best overall player.
Almost always.
And the best overall player
always
is
a forward. It is rare, but it's happened. But it's not going to happen because these guys have their own trophies. I mean, you can make the argument for anybody being, Hart. Even guys who have you could have made a couple seasons ago. You could have made an argument for Sidney Crosby winning the Hart because he carried the team on his back, even though he was 11th or 12th in scoring.
Well, that's once again the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're you're looking at it's basically essentially the Hart is like the Ted Lindsay. So if the Ted Lindsay exists to go to the best player, right, as voted on by the players, the Hart is basically just that. It's just whoever has the most points is usually the Hart Trophy winner. And it's really not going to go to a goaltender or a defenseman unless they have monumentally amazing seasons paired with the fact that there wasn't a forward who was also doing the same thing. And I think both Draisaitl and McKinnon are doing phenomenal things. And I mean, both MVP status for sure. I know they both, one has McDavid on his roster. The other one has, Cal McCarr on his roster. No longer Mikko Rantanen, but also Cal McCarr. So, but I don't know. I don't see it. I can see him potentially being nominated, but there's no way he's winning it. Not a chance.
I think he's got the Vezina locked up already, or he had that.
Oh, that's
up
for sure.
like
100%. Yes, he will win.
I
the
think
Vezina
he'll win that, and he's not going to win Hart. And they're like, okay, he's getting the Vezina at least, so he's getting recognized for something for the unbelievable season that he's having. But yeah, it's a 2-horse race. It's between McKinnon and Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay.
Can I just place a bet that everyone has a good time?
Yeah. I think you'll win that bet, guy.
I'm having fun.
Unless it's on.
I always have fun talking.
You bet on me having a good time watching a game.
Although you haven't screamed or cursed yet, so I guess that's.
I know it's been a really shitty game. It's only 1-0 still.
Oh, there we go. And there's the swear.
Yep. And you haven't yelled shoot yet.
Did you tap the sign?
Lucilius. Solid 4.
Cool.
I keep making this a 5 for St. Patrick's Day. It's my cultural heritage.
Hey.
And I can confirm, it tastes better in Dublin than here.
It does.
I probably agree with you. Even though I haven't had it in Dublin, I'm going to presume.
I have.
4, 2, 5. Eddie, I love it.
Mine sucks. I don't know, negative 4,000.
Shorts guy, take her home.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing is a total disregard for the things St. Patrick's Day stand for. All this drinking, violence, destruction of property. Are these the things we think of when we think of the Irish?